In the past decade, Aston Villa has gone through almost everything that a football club can go through, from relegation to struggling in the championship to promotion and then to the phase when Steven Gerrard was their head coach. Aston Villa is one of the oldest and one of the most successful clubs in English football, known for winning 7 league titles, more than Chelsea and Tottenham, 7 FA Cups, and are only one of the 6 English clubs to win European Cup aka the Champions League. However, despite having such a rich history, their time in the Premier League has never been good. The club has been struggling to finish inside top 10 since 2011, and from 2011 to 2015 they were literally saving themselves from relegation. But in 2016, after winning just 3 games out of possible 38, the club finally got relegated to the second division of English football. Fans across the country blamed Randy Lerner for the downfall of the club. Who is Randy Lerner? Randy Lerner is an American billionaire who bought Aston Villa in 2006. Since his arrival, Villa only struggled because of his wrong transfer strategies and were continuously getting hammered in the Premier League. So after their relegation in 2016, fans protested against the owner and demanded to sell the club. Unlike some American owners, Randy Lerner agreed to sell the club to a Chinese businessman. Fast forward to their first season in the championship, it was expected that team would perform well and get promoted in the very first season. But despite having a good start, Villa struggled by the end of the campaign. Considering the number of games a team has to play in the championship, Villa failed to manage the workload and lost 10 out of their last 20 games, resulting a 13th place finish in the championship. 2017-2018 also started awfully, with club winning just 1 game out of their first 7. However, later that season under Steve Bruce, Aston Villa picked up momentum and won 24 games out of possible 46. This led to a 4th place finish in the table and qualification to the playoffs. But later they lost to Fulham in the final and stayed in the championship once again. Now, after failing to secure a promotion for the second time in a row, the financial condition of the club was not good. Club was even struggling to pay the salaries of the players, so Tony Xia, the Chinese owner, sold 55% stakes to NSWE Group. Next season, NSWE Group straightaway invested £30 million in the club. They paid all the remaining taxes and spent £20 million on the transfers. In the same window, Aston Villa also brought players like Tammy Abraham, Mings and El Ghazi on loan. But despite having such a good transfer window, Aston Villa again struggled in the first half of the season. They found themselves on 15th place after 11 games, which resulted into the sacking of Steve Bruce and appointment of Dean Smith. Under Dean Smith, team improved dramatically and went on an unbeaten run of 12 games by the end of the season. They finished 5th in the championship, qualified for the playoffs and played the final once again. However, this time around it was a positive result as they won the game 2-1 and got an exciting promotion back to the Premier League. Special shout out to Tammy Abraham, who scored 25 goals and was their top scorer in the championship. In 2019-2020, as the club was finally in the Premier League, Aston Villa spent big on transfers, 159 million euros to be precise. They made 15 signings that season, including permanent contracts to Mings and Ghazi. So after spending so much money, it was expected that club would now easily survive in the Premier League. Well, Aston Villa started their campaign at 17th place and also ended it at 17th place. They won 9 games in the Premier League and were just 1 point away from relegation. The only positive that season was Jack Grealish, who was their top scorer and top assist provider with 8 goals and 6 assists. Following next season, Villa spent another 100 million on transfers, bought Emi Martinez for 17 million euros, Olin Watkins for 34 million euros and Matty Cash for 15 million euros. But this time around, it paid off well as they won 4 games out of first 5, including that famous 7-2 win against Liverpool. New signing Olin Watkins scored 14 goals that season, with Jack Grealish having another breakout season with 6 goals and 12 assists. Right winger El Ghazi also made his mark by scoring 10 goals. All these performances helped Aston Villa to finish as high as 11th in the Premier League table, which was their highest finish in last 11 years. Aston Villa looked ready to compete for a spot inside top 10, with Jack Grealish unlocking his potential and becoming one of the best players in the league. Oh. The arrival of 21-22 took everything away from Villa fans, as their homegrown talent joined Manchester City and became the most expensive British transfer at that time. Manchester City signed Jack Grealish by paying his release clause of £100 million. Club invested that money to sign Danny Ings for 29.5 million euros and Leon Bailey for 32 million euros. Now, if you see, club was spending enough money on buying new players, but the team was underperforming every single time, as again Aston Villa started their campaign in the worst possible possible way, they lost 7 out of their first 11 games, which led to the sacking of Dean Smith, and then Steven Gerrard took over for the rest of the season. Probably one of the greatest midfielder in the Premier League history, Gerrard was now a promising coach. Before joining Aston Villa, he had an impressive spell in Scottish League where he helped Rangers to win their first league title in 9 years. So that's why when Gerrard arrived in the Premier League, there were some big expectations from him. He took over Aston Villa when they were sitting 15th in the table, and he helped them to finish 14th by the end of the season.
What?
Don't get me wrong here, but Aston Villa under Steven Gerrard were terrible. Things got even worse in 22-23 season, as despite of signing every single player Gerrard wanted, Aston Villa's performances on the pitch were below average. They were not only struggling to win, but struggling to score as well. In the opening 11 games of the season, Villa scored just 7 goals and managed just 2 wins, which ultimately ended Steven Gerrard's time at the club. Aston Villa found themselves at 16th place, indicating that team was in big trouble and a good change was required. Club appointed 4-time Europa League winner Unai Emery as their new head coach. Now Emery is one of the most underrated coaches in the world. As mentioned, he has won 4 Europa League titles, out of which one was against Manchester United in 2021. He also defeated Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals of the Champions League with this Villarreal squad. So there was no doubt that Emery was perfect candidate for the job. He took Aston Villa from battling relegation to an impressive 7th place finish in the Premier League. Aston Villa also qualified for the European football for the first time since 2010. With so many positives, it was clear that club was entering into new era under their new coach Unai Emery. Unlike previous Aston Villa coaches, Emery decided to spend his money wisely. He made 3 important signings, which included Pau Torres from Villarreal for 33 million euros, Moussa Diaby from Bayer Leverkusen for 35 million euros, and Yuri Tielemans for free. With these signings, Aston Villa have started their campaign in the best possible way. After losing 5-1 to Newcastle in their very first game, Villa have won 12 matches since then. They recently dominated Manchester City by attempting 22 shots, the most any team has ever attempted against Pep Guardiola. This game was just an example of the brand of football they have been playing so far. See, Unai Emery is playing classic 4-4-2, which sometimes can be 4-4-1. He mainly focuses on center midfielders for chance creation and depends upon forward runs to break through. Center forward walk-ins becomes the most important part during the build-up, as his movements on the pitch are the reason why Aston Villa are banking so many goals. While defending, they irritates their opponents by implementing high defensive line, and Unai Emery makes sure that every player of the opposition is man-to-man marked. See, the main philosophy here is to take time on the ball and wait for an opportunity to break through. This is helping them to score a lot many goals, as by the time I'm recording this video, they are second in terms of best attack. But the question is, how far can they go? Well, at this moment, they are looking unstoppable. I mean, beating Manchester City like this is not a joke. And also, if you look at their results in other Premier League games or even in the Conference League, they have been getting some great wins. Special mention to their 6-1 win against Brighton, which was again a complete masterclass. So can they win the Premier League? No, that's not happening. But a finish inside top 4 sounds interesting. So let me know what do you think in the comments, because in my opinion, finish inside top 4 is a possibility. Also make sure to like the video and subscribe the channel, as we are very close to 4,000 subscribers. And watch my previous videos.